It's time to get something off my chest. And I know a lot of you feel the same because it comes up in the comments on just about every video that I make, whatever the platform. Are Lego sets getting way too big and way too expensive? We've talked about it before, but we are going to talk about it again because my shelves and my bank account, particularly at the moment, are starting to feel personally attacked. And a lot of the discourse around this at the moment is connected to that up-and-coming brand new UCS Death Star. 9,000 pieces, nearly 80 centimetres wide, and with a price tag of $1,000 is the big headline, £900 if you're in the UK, and all of the above is wild. For context, the previous Death Star playset in 2016 was half that price. Now, yes, I acknowledge this one's more detailed, but at what point do we really start to question if a Lego set should cost more than the desk you're planning to build it on, the furniture you're planning to display it on? I've never been more glad that I'm not into Star Wars than I was the day when that set was revealed. But it does leave me living in fear that they'll announce a £1,000 Batmobile that I'll be contractually obligated to purchase at some point. And that terrifies me. And it's obviously not just a Death Star problem. That's just the low-hanging fruit because everyone is going for it at the moment. But just look at the last few weeks at the time of recording. September alone has given us 4 huge 18+ releases, all basically shouting, empty your savings. We've had the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory set. It's £200. It looks gorgeous. I love it. I want it, but it's £200. The Black Pearl is £300 for a big black pirate ship. Arkham Asylum, nearly £300 for a Batman modular, but you know, modulars are 200 quid. So a big chunk of that is that it's a Batman modular. And don't get me started on the Hogsmeade Village Collector's Edition, £350 for a snowy Harry Potter street that's smaller than the Diagon Alley one that was roughly the same price 5 years ago. That's 4 premium sets in the space of just a few weeks. And there is an alternate universe out there where I buy all of them. I certainly want them all. I can certainly see myself owning all 4 of them eventually. If they'd been spread out over 3 or 4 months, I probably would have gotten all 4 of them at launch, even if a couple of them are a little bit too expensive for what they are. But even as someone who buys and builds Lego as my job, this is what I do for a living. And because of that, I have a higher Lego budget than most people. But I'm feeling the weight of the avalanche of giant boxes and giant bills. So if I'm starting to feel the strain, even the most committed AFOLs are going to need to lie down after all of that. And I would love to hear from anybody who has bought all 4 of those sets, because I have to believe there's got to be some buyer's remorse approaching when that credit card bill comes in. Surely that's like £1,000 off of Lego in one go. And this is all part of a wider trend. Massive display models dropping back to back. A decade ago, you'd get 1 or 2 flagship sets a year. Now, it's like Lego is testing how fast we'll run on the big set treadmill. We've got Star Wars one week, Harry Potter the next, Pirates, then DC, then there's no breather. By the end of this year, Lego will have released 24 sets priced at £200 or more over the course of the year. And that is insane. That is 2 £200 plus sets a month, every month, all year. And that's without mentioning all of the sets that fall just under that £200 threshold. You could have a very generous £500 a month Lego budget and still not come close to getting everything Lego are releasing at the moment. And that's just not sustainable, surely. And I get it. And I've said it multiple times in recent videos. We don't need every set. I don't need every set. But the vast majority of these big sets are awesome. They're engineering marvels. They look fantastic and I want them. Even the ones for the properties I'm not interested in. That big stuff is fun to build. I'd love to build the Death Star. I don't have any interest in Star Wars, but that Death Star looks like it'd be a fun weekend. And whenever I talk about this, there's always people who rush to price per piece or tell me how a particular set isn't actually overpriced because X, Y, Z. But it's not just about the individual price tags of the sets. This current release schedule is causing problems in all sorts of ways. If we look at budgets, any sensible Lego collector should have a budget that they're trying to stick to. But if you want September's 4 big sets plus the Death Star, you're looking at close to a £2,000 spend over the course of just over a month, which is too much for anybody, surely. And then don't get me started on space, because these models are eating up the square footage. That Death Star alone is wider than most coffee tables. I've got a room in my house and a storage unit dedicated to Lego, and it's all over my office, it's all over our landing, it's all over our living room, and we're running out of space. Again, what do normal people, what are they supposed to do? And then they get you with the FOMO as well. We've got the gifts with purchases. We've got the early access, the double points event. It all pressures us to buy now or miss out. And we're all guilty of getting caught up in it, probably way more than we should. And the result is it sometimes feels like a nice, relaxing hobby, which is what Lego is at its core. It's what Lego should be. But that nice, relaxing hobby sometimes feels a little bit more like we're contestants on a very expensive game show. And for context, prices haven't just crept up, they have sprinted up. 2007's UCS Millennium Falcon was $500 for 5,000 pieces. The 2017 Falcon, so 10 years later, $800 for 7,500 pieces. And that 2025 Death Star is $1,000 for 9,000 pieces. Yes, the price per piece has stayed roughly the same, but the set is twice the size, so the price is twice as high. Even modulars, they were less than £100 when they started back in 2007. And today, the most recent one, Tudor Corner, is £200. And they are roughly the same size. They've not grown in size, they've just doubled in price. Inflation explains some of that, but not all of it. So is Lego in danger of pricing people out of the hobby? And that kind of is the £1 million question. Lego do still make smaller, affordable sets, and I've talked about that in videos before. The amount of smaller, affordable sets is higher than ever, but it's the top end that is becoming heavier and turning far more into like luxury product territory. And some adult fans of Lego are starting to bow out of whole themes that they previously collected. Others are having to choose to buy just one grail set a year and are skipping loads of stuff that previously they would have wanted. But then you look at it from Lego's point of view, and if they keep doing £600 plus sets, £1,000 sets, and they keep selling out, they're going to keep making them. But they risk alienating the fans who've kept the brand alive for decades. As a football fan, I see how this has happened with Premier League football over the last 20 years. I haven't been to a Premier League football match for pleasure in about 15 years because I just can't justify it. I just can't afford it. I've been to make videos at a couple and it's cost me £300-400 for tickets to just random Premier League games. And it's just not sustainable for normal people anymore. And it becomes this luxury exclusive product that's all of a sudden serving a completely different group of people. And you forget about the people who got you where you were, and the bottom then falls out. And it just feels like we're setting ourselves up for trouble. Maybe not now, maybe not next year, but 10, 20 years down the line when we don't have that next generation of kids. And I could just as easily be talking about Premier League football as Lego. But when you have, like, I'm 43 now and I went to football matches every week and got loads of Lego when I was a kid. But kids now can't do that. It's not affordable to do. So when they're hitting their midlife crisis in their 40s, their kids have moved out and left home. Are they going to get the same nostalgia feels as I do? Are they going to dedicate their Sundays to watching football? Are they going to dedicate their time to building Lego sets? Are they going to spend their hard-earned money on the toys they loved as a kid because they didn't love them as a kid because they couldn't afford them? And that's when it collapses, when I'm in my 60s and too old to pick up anything new. It's a worry. That felt like that got away from me a little bit there. Personally, I'm learning slowly to pick and choose. You've seen some examples of it in some of our recent shopping videos. I am trying to live by the mantra that I don't need every giant box that Lego try and sell me. Just the ones that genuinely spark joy and, crucially, fit through the door and have a long-term display space in our house. If a set's price makes you wince more than smile, it is completely okay to pass on it. Lego should be fun, not stressful. If the price of Lego is stressing you out, don't buy the Lego. But they're just my thoughts. What do you think? Are you loving all of these supersized builds, or do you miss the days when £150 was an extravagant Lego purchase? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you're navigating through the big set era. And if you have found this useful, give it a like, maybe subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully, we won't have had another £1,000 set announced by then. But in the meantime, happy building, and may your shelves and your wallet survive whatever the next big release may be. Doodle pip.